Hi, I'm Jerry Seinfeld, inviting you to join me with two of my best buddies, Larry Miller and Larry Charles, on the Abbott Costello Marathon. That's September 12th, 10 hours of my second favorite sitcom, right here on Comedy Central. It's long, but it's really good. Watch it.
Watch Abbott and Costello meet Seinfeld today at noon only at Comedy Central.
Hi, welcome back. Jerry, Larry, and Larry, watching a little Bud and Lou with you. Hello, and welcome to Abbott and Costello meet us three guys. I'm Jerry Seinfeld. This is my good buddy Larry Miller, comedian and person who I know. And this is Larry Charles, supervising producer of the Seinfeld Show, on which I have made many appearances. We are here today to celebrate the work of Abbott and Costello. We are at Bud Abbott's house that he bought in 1941 and lived until 1959. And we're going to watch 20 episodes of the classic Abbott and Costello TV show with you.
And it's worth saying that we, as kids, no kidding, and then as we got to know each other as friends and colleagues in this business, just adore these guys. If you have any interest in just really funny stuff, watch these. If you have any interest in being a performer, this is like going to college for you. Watch these guys closely. It's very silly, very funny, and a lot meatier than you may think.
And we're going to try to focus in on the TV show here and show some of the distinctions between the TV show and the movies, because there's a big difference. There's like a 20-year difference sometimes between what they were doing in the movies in that era and the era of the TV show, which is the mid-50s. And maybe we'll be able to highlight some of the various aspects of the TV show that were sort of distinctive and unique.
Okay, we're going to start with an episode called The Drugstore. And as you might imagine, it involves a drugstore.
And they need jobs again.
So then that episode marked the first appearance of all the characters, I guess, was Stinky and Sid Fields, who was really one of the great driving forces behind the show.
He's almost like the auteur of the show in a way.
Yeah, he wrote many of the episodes.
Plays multiple roles, as he will in the next episode.
The next episode we're going to see is The Dentist.
Right.
And, you know, the other great thing in these shows is the use of the sound effects that they would lay in later. There was no regard for reality, no concern with people aren't going to buy this, or it doesn't, when you take a hat off of somebody's head, there's no air escaping, there's no sound of a jet plunger, you know.
And it's hugely funny. I mean, people may not even notice it. We didn't the first couple of times, but whatever they do, they take a hat off, they pull something out of a pocket, and you'll hear or something.
Yeah. But I would suggest the honesty comes in them saying to the audience, we're just going to be funny now.
Right.
That's all we're about. We're about being funny. We're not going to try to present some kind of realistic thing. It's going to be absurd, but it's going to be funny. And that's what they're telling the audience. And that's real, and that's still honest, and that's still vital. Even today, I think that's one of the reasons that the show still works, actually. There's no pretensions about it.
Yeah.
One thing we discussed last night, which is that in those days, in movies as well as on their show, there was no problem with saying Joe Besser is a little boy.
Yeah,
he's dressed as a little boy. He's a 57-year-old man on the show, but it doesn't matter. If you just say he's a little boy, the audience will buy it and laugh.
That's right.
So this is The Dentist, and watch for Sidney Fields taking Lou's hat in the dentist office. It's a very unusual sound. Hi, welcome back. Jerry, Larry, and Larry, watching a little Bud and Lou with you. Welcome back to Abbott and Costello meet Seinfeld. I'm here with the two Larrys, and we have just enjoyed watching the dentist's office, where when Sid Fields took the whatever that thing, I don't know, in the toothaches in the early part of the century.
How did that help?
Yeah, you had to wear a thing around your head for some reason. There was no
it was barbaric, really.
Yeah,
it was International Semaphore for Toothache.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right, so this episode coming up now is the Jail, which is really a classic. You shouldn't miss this one. If you only see one, this is the one you've got to see, because it contains the classic Niagara Falls routine, probably the most famous vaudeville routine that is in these episodes.
Performed expertly by Sidney Fields again.
Right.
Showing off his versatility, playing two roles in this episode. Don't also miss he's the attorney where he does the whole slapping the writ thing also. With his plan for how he's going to get Lou out of trouble with the bucket. So
first, I slap on a writ before.
That's right.
They're always barraging him with all sorts of technical terms that he could never comprehend.
And leading to a huge joke of all these writs, and he just says, well, I just like putting on the writs.
Right.
And it sounds goofy as a play on words, but with their undeniable rhythm, trained in vaudeville, it's hugely funny.
And Lou is kind of the sane man and the straight man in this also. I mean, and Sidney Fields is really playing off of him as the straight man, which is kind of interesting.
But listen to how beautifully written the Niagara Falls routine is. And also watch for Mike the Cop.
I was just going to say. Mike the Stranger's beat in police work.
Right, wandering through Lou's backyard.
That's his beat.
Welcome back to Abbott and Costello Meet Seinfeld. I'm Jerry. I'm here with my buddies Larry Miller and Larry Charles. You just enjoyed watching The Jail. Speaking of the pitiless rays of the tropical sun, we're here at the backyard of Bud Abbott's house. And we're getting ready to watch now The
Army Story.
The Army Story. Some wonderful work by Hillary Brooke.
Right.
One of our favorite characters in the series. And
a great enigma.
yes, an odd, sophisticated, tall ingenue who somehow fell in with these two ne'er-do-wells.
She had 3 inches on Bud Abbott.
That's right.
And also, folks may know from movies like Jane Eyre and The Enchanted Cottage. She's a terrific actress, actually, and wound up, we don't know how, through what agency, meeting
there, yeah.
Suddenly, you're working with Orson Welles, and then you're saying, hello, Lewis.
She was the only one to call him Lewis.
Lewis,
for some reason, he was always Lewis.
Very formal,
very formal. And she seemed to have quite a thing for Lou, didn't she?
Yeah, she liked Lou. So that may be her whole problem in life, really, was that she liked Lou. She lived in the Tawdry rooming house. She had no life, really. So
maybe she tried to get this part. We don't even know.
Looked like
Bud
$1 million
never made a move on her either.
By the way, watch also...
Bud always backed off as soon as Lou and Hillary got together.
Yeah.
Notice.
By the way, please also watch for this classic dice routine, the clubhouse routine. You will not see a funnier or better performed routine anywhere in comedy. And the whole episode is terrific anyway, but as soon as they start that, I'm going to con Lou into playing craps with us, watch that closely. It's gorgeous.
And the skinny guy getting the shot.
Right. There's a skinny guy getting the shot. It's a great bit player.
And Botchkaloo being in the Army, even though he's not a citizen of this country. And the fact that they're 45 to 60 years old and they're in the Army.
I hope you're enjoying watching these brilliant boys. They are the boys, by the way. That's the great thing. And Fields always calls them, you know, you boys need to...
And they're partners, too.
Yeah, they're partners.
They live in the
And they're
rooming house.
roommates, but nothing's ever mentioned about that. Yeah.
Well, there was no need to mention that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was normal. That was a completely...
Right, you could have a partner and a roommate. Today, there would be a slightly tawdry aspect put on that, but in those days, you could just be...
It was normal. It was as normal as having a 60-year-old man in shorts called Stinky.
Right.
I mean, it was
That's
all
right.
normal, apparently.
And, of course, they never changed outfits throughout the entire season. There were 2 years of this series, and in this group we're watching now, you'll notice that the exact same clothes in every episode.
I think all the episodes were shot in one day, actually, which was amazing.
Much
like this.
A lot like this.
By the way, as we've talked about, it's worth mentioning, there's a great historical value to watching these. If you love comedy, or if you want to be a comic, the difference between these fellas growing up and working in burlesque, the difference between that and vaudeville is so apparent in watching the way they start their bits, watching the way that it's so clean, there's no fat on it at all. They walk right in and they just go, say, you know, it's funny, I was talking to the man down the street the other day and he said to me, say, what are you talking about, buddy?
All the bit players, everyone has a strong, clear voice that you just don't hear any people just coming, how dare you remind me of someone I hate? You
Bang,
know,
and a slap in the face.
And these may be these people's specialties, parts that they played over and over again for 20, 30 years. The slap in the face woman, the laughing guy, the sneeze guy, you know.
Right.
This was probably the thing that they did on stage in burlesque houses across the country for years, you know, the same thing over and over again.
Very powerful
here's the Charity Bazaar. Welcome back to the Abbott and Costello Meet Seinfeld show. Here's an episode that's going to come on next. It's called Peace and Quiet. I'm saying it's broken, and Lou is having trouble sleeping. Now, people always ask me, you know, what show is your show like? And I always answer Abbott and Costello, because that's a typical kind of synopsis that we would use to describe one of our
A
episodes.
show about nothing. He
Yeah.
has trouble sleeping and then winds up in a mental hospital somehow, which
Right.
is exactly the trajectory of our show. That's exactly what happened.
You're the 1, 2, 10 joke.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
right.
Suddenly you get a sleep record. That's it, you're relaxing now. And next thing you know, you're in what they used to call the crazy house.
Right, the nut house.
Today, of course, that would be too sensitive to
Politically
say something
incorrect,
like
exactly.
the nut house.
One of my favorite characters in the series is Mike the Cop, who was always referred to as Mike the Cop.
Right.
He has no last name. He's not Michael. He's Mike the Cop.
He has no superior, and yet he's only Mike the Cop also.
Yeah.
He's only an officer.
He represented all forms of authority, whether it be social, legal, whatever. When Costello would try and leave the courtroom, Mike
the bailiff all of a sudden.
He was the bailiff. All of a sudden he was there.
And
he was like Attila the Hun, Mike the cop. It was the same kind of name.
He beats on Lou the way the cops beat on Rodney King also. I mean, he really brutalizes the man, and yet nothing is done about it.
Well, they all beat on Lou. That's another thing to watch for. These cracks in the face are hysterical because Abbott cracked him in the face.
Yeah.
And when the woman hit him with the umbrella on the head, how dare you remind me of someone I hate, bam!
Yeah.
Right.
They were hitting each other.
When you talk about reality, there's some real violence going on here, and that was real for these guys, I'm sure.
Again, today that's not good, but we think it's funny.
Yeah.
Hi, welcome back. Hi, welcome back. Jerry, Larry, and Larry, watching a little Bud and Lou with you. Hi, welcome back. We're getting ready to watch one of our favorite episodes called Hungry, which is a lot of food bits in this one, and there's a classic bit in here where Bud and Lou go to the restaurant, which has identical twin waitresses, but they only have enough money for one sandwich, which of course will be Bud's, and then Lou has to pretend that he's not hungry, but Bud never seems to help him once they get into the situation.
He changes gears all of a sudden and keeps talking Lou, of course, into ordering something, and each time Lou finally gives in, he gets, speaking of slaps in the face, a real first-class wallop, and then they go through the whole premise again. Why did you tell me? Why did I want? Don't listen to me. You're very persistent, dot, dot, dot.
And Bud doesn't bother explaining the whole premise to Lou till they're in the restaurant sitting down. Then he has to explain to him.
Right, he calls them away.
He says, oh, by the way, we only have enough money. But it's great. Again, watch the undeniable rhythm that they grew up in burlesque and vaudeville, and this is what makes these guys so hugely funny.
Yeah.
You can take a premise that's tissue thin and just keep dancing on it.
And if that bit's not enough, it's followed by the oyster stew bit, which is also one of their other classic bits.
Right, where they go to have some soup, and there's a clam that keeps shooting Lou in the face. But anyway, you want to talk about tight. Comedians always talk about tight. This is tight. This is Bud and Lou in Hungry.
Dense comedy at its best.
Hi, Jerry Seinfeld, Larry Miller, Larry Charles, discussing Bud Abbott and Lou Costello here at Comedy Central. Hi, welcome back to Abbott and Costello Meet Seinfeld. I'm here with comedian Larry Miller and top TV writer Larry Charles. And we are enjoying fully the wonderful work of Abbott and Costello that was done in the 50s on television. These are excerpted from a series that ran 2 years. There's 2 different theme songs and 2 different outfits for each cast member. And they did 52 episodes, of which we're watching 20. This has the Susquehanna Hat Company, one of a true vaudeville classic.
Yeah.
And located at 222 Flugel Street.
That's right.
Should be pointed out, I think.
And again, it's the bit players that really make this bit fly. I mean, there's people coming in off the street here. They just walk in. They've been rehearsing this their whole lives. And they do it on TV.
That's what's so real about it, though, also, in a way. It's like urban chaos. I mean, it's like being in a city street, even though it's completely an absurd situation. It's like walking down the street, you have crazy people constantly, confronting you and being very aggressive with you. It's like walking down any street in America, really, in a way. So even though it's completely insane, it's very real at the same time.
And in line with this company of players, remember, these were the days in show business when people could be the laughing guy. They were known as the thing they did.
Right.
And that phone call, the Alexander 4444 phone call.
This is a really...
There are 4 people in a row who walk into that scene and just hit the ball right out of the park.
Here it is. Bud and Lou getting a job. Hi, welcome to Abbott and Costello Meet Seinfeld. It's a fascinating story about Bud being shanghaied, which he went into a bar in Brooklyn.
Apparently, yeah.
And was hit over the head. He was a teenager.
Right. This is around 1910 in the Red Hook section of Brooklyn, in days when that used to happen. He stopped in for a quick beer you could get when you were 14 or 15, and stopped in at lunchtime and got whacked on the back of the head and woke up on a tramp steamer and was away for 4 years. No telephones, obviously. Couldn't call home. And he was, in that old phrase, shanghaied. And you wake up on that tramp steamer, and the next thing you know, the guy says, bring the coffee to the captain.
Yeah.
And you do it, and it took him those 4 years to get back and walk in and say, I'm back.
That's where he got his coffee bit from being on the panel.
Enjoy your coffee.
Enjoy your coffee, Captain.
And interestingly, came back on the very same boat.
Right.
He had a book passage and came back on the same boat. But they certainly took the roller coaster ride of life. I mean, starting out the way they did, and in burlesque, and into vaudeville, into movies, into television, and dying penniless. Well, no, Lou had some money at the
I
end.
suppose so, yeah. I'm sure he had something. And but it's interesting, though, that with all the competition in burlesque and vaudeville and everything like that, that they managed to find each other and kind of move up the ladder. I mean, the competition at that time must have been fierce to get someone to notice you and to think, oh, this could work in film also. I mean, that's kind of a new idea at that time.
So here they